Moshe Rabbeinu is instructed in this week's Parshat BaMidbar to replace the firstborns who were initially intended to be the priests in Israel and do the special service of God in the Mishkan with the Bnei Levi. If we recall, the firstborns lost their privilege to have the special priestly service because of their involvement in the golden calf, whereas the tribe of Levi refrained from their participation in the golden calf, and therefore they replaced the firstborns. Looking only at this dynamic, we can suggest that perhaps the lesson to learn from here is the firstborns were designated for something quite unique, quite special. It was a privilege. Now, what exactly did they do to deserve that privilege? Unclear. Unclear. They were born first, and for that reason, they were meant to be special, unique, designated to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's something unique, special, holy about the firstborn. Well, that's wonderful, but there was nothing in particular that they did to deserve it. Whereas the Bnei Levi, the tribe of Levi, not just by the golden calf, but consistently seem to be making the right decisions when the rest of Klal Yisrael is making the wrong decisions. Bnei Levi were famously known not to be enslaved in Egypt because they didn't participate in Egyptian society, and so they were never enslaved. So that would be perhaps a lesson that we could learn from this replacement, looking only at this particular dynamic of the firstborn's involvement in the golden calf compared to the Levium's abstention. But the truth is, if you look throughout the Torah, especially in Bereshit and up until Bereshit and Shemot, you'll find that there is actually a pattern of failures on behalf of the firstborn. And even if there's not a clear failure, the firstborn doesn't seem to live up to that of the following child. You can see this with Cain and Hevel, depending on how you understand the birth order of Noach's children, with Yefet and with Shem. You can see this with Yishmael and with Yitzchak. Perhaps Avram himself is a notable example, if you understand him to be the firstborn. You can see this with Yaakov and Esav. You can see this with Reuven and Yosef. A constant younger surpassing the older Ephraim and Menashe as well. So what does this mean? Why is it that throughout the Torah we see this pattern of the older not living up to expectations and the younger surpassing them? I think on a deeper level, perhaps we could suggest something interesting, even metaphoric, about the first child as opposed to all subsequent children. The first child is the trailblazer, something new, a foundation, a chiddush, a start, a beginning. This is what the first child represents to the parents. And the second child and the third child, while they are extremely exciting, they're not the beginning of the family, the beginning of the descendants, not the beginning of something new. They're the continuation, the continuity. Perhaps the point that the Torah is making to us is that those most fit for meaningful service in Klal Yisrael are those who are willing to represent continuity, not needing to do their own thing, start their own path, their own religion, their own tradition, their own this, anew that, continuing that which came before them. Those who represent and live for continuity, they have a unique place in our tradition. And perhaps that's why Avraham is the notable exception of the Bechor rule, again, assuming that he was the Bechor. Avraham was the one who was the trailblazer, who did set us on this path we've been going down for 4,000 years now. Now, everyone afterward, however, needed to be committed to a life of continuity. Not to say, well, I need to be the first and the new and the engineer, the trailblazer of everything. But rather to accept there is something that came before me that is bigger than me that I'm meant to continue. maybe that's the lesson of the failure of the Bechor and the success of those who came after.